Welcome to Country Fried Fools, Episode 2. I'm Harry.
I'm Billy.
I'm Henry.
And I'm James.
Hey.
Yeah, congrats.
We
Us.
can name things.
We figured it out.
After some workshopping and some brainstorming, I think we arrived at not only a good name, but a name that isn't taken.
That's true. Yeah.
Harder than you would think.
Yeah, I know, right? So, as we started last episode, why don't we talk about what everyone's making for dinner tonight? Who wants to go first?
Well, I've got an easy one. I am making Joshua Weissman's country fried steak.
Oh, that's pretty poignant.
Yeah, kind of works with the title. But,
country fried steak.
I'm real nervous because this is the first time I've ever fried anything.
Ever?
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I don't like frying things.
All right. Quick
rice
pro
count?
tip. No, fried rice? Oh, that doesn't count, man. Come on.
That's not
Like
frying.
deep fried or pan fried or something.
Yeah. Pro tip: go hotter than you think, but be very careful because the temperature's going to drop once you put it in there. But also, don't ever leave it. Like, look at that thing. It will burn way faster than you think.
I've got an outside burner on a grill that I'm going to use.
Okay, just
Do you
stare
have a
at it.
thermometer?
Yes.
Like
That's good.
Okay.
Temperature control's
The video
huge.
didn't say what temp I should have it at.
I think 350
Yeah.
is standard.
Yeah, that's what I do
Okay.
mine in.
Because all he said is medium-high heat and keep it there. And I'm like, that's
I
that's
think
useful.
350 degrees is good.
Yeah.
I've learned, apparently, if you have a wooden spoon, you can dip the wooden spoon in the hot oil, and if it just, like, sizzles a little bit, then that's a good test.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, that's...
If you're doing, like, something dredged in flour, you can also sprinkle a little flour in,
Yeah.
and it should, like, bubble, but it shouldn't, like, go everywhere, and it shouldn't do nothing.
Mhm.
But do not leave it, because the minute you turn
Yeah.
your back on it, it will burn. You gotta just have your eyes on it the whole time. But it's easy. It's super easy.
So how are you making it? You were brining it last night, right?
Yeah, I'm brining it in buttermilk. And
Oh, you beautiful bastard.
It's just... we had a lot of buttermilk. Though, Jesus Christ, I didn't expect it to use that much buttermilk. Like,
Yeah, you gotta
oh
cover
my
it all.
God. Then again, my parents bought, like, a crap ton of cube steak for this. So I'm going to make a lot of country fried steak.
That sounds really
Sounds
good,
good,
man.
yeah.
I'm using this saltine cracker breading that looks really interesting.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like you crush up a whole bunch of saltine crackers and it gets this extra crispy crust. So.
Ooh. Are you doing a, with, like, flour dredge, then, saltine cracker dredge? Or are you doing,
you mix the flour and the saltine crackers together and you just crush it all into the crevices.
But are you doing two dredges, like egg
Only
wash
one
dredge, egg wash dredge? Okay, just one? All right.
And the buttermilk is acting like the egg wash dredge.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I get you.
Well, send pictures, because that sounds really tasty.
Oh,
shall.
yes, please. Please and thank you.
Make some B-roll.
Yeah.
Hey,
Or
Joshua Weissman would be proud.
art for episode art.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
true. We need a thumbnail if we put this on, like, YouTube or something.
Yeah.
That actually, well, it's country fried. I guess it would work. I could get some
Yeah?
nice filters going.
All right. James, what about you? What are you making?
Nothing quite as grandiose. I'm trying to use up all my leftover stuff. I'm making curry fried rice.
Ooh.
So, just because I have a bunch of rice and a bunch of eggs and curry.
Yeah?
But yeah, I'm just gonna do that, and I'm debating again. Like, I'm trying to use all my leftovers, and I don't know. I don't think it'll be bad. I think it might be a little odd, but I don't really have any meat that's cooked up. But I have a little bit of pork sausage, and I'm like, that could be okay. I think a little bit of pork sausage in the fried rice, but I'm curious how the curry flavoring will go with that.
What kind of... Is it like a breakfast sausage, or is it like an Italian sausage?
Not an Italian sausage. It's like unseasoned, just pork sausage.
Okay.
So it's not like
That
hickory
shouldn't be too
breakfast
bad.
sausage or anything, and it's not like Italian-y. I just need to use it, and I need to use this rice up too, and I kind of want some curry. So I'm debating if I want to do that, or if I just want to go with just plain old curry fried rice, or if I want to do like a dirty rice with the sausage, because that's always tasty. So nothing too grandiose, but I'm just trying to use up all the random bits of food I have in my fridge before I cook any more, just so I don't have anything go bad.
That's good practice.
Yeah. Plus, I'm trying to, like, at least I'm doing this thing where I'm only eating meat for one meal, for one to save money, and two, like it's it's kind of better for the environment if I don't eat meat for every meal. So I just have meat at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm seeing how that goes. And actually, the curry thing, if we do the one of the other segments for this, it will definitely come into play because I have never cooked with curry before until a few days ago, and it was a learning experience.
Is it curry paste or powder?
Yeah, just curry paste, but I did something dumb because I wasn't thinking, and which just happens a lot. Like you're like cooking something and you make a mistake and you're like, why on earth did I do that? And
yeah,
then
sometimes
yeah.
Well, we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that. But yeah, curry
Yeah.
fried rice is the main idea tonight. And if I just want to use the sausage, I might do dirty rice and pork sausage and like some onions and peppers and stuff.
Dirty rice is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, solid stuff.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Billy, do you want to go?
Why not? So, in a way, I am sticking with the name of Country Fried. I am, instead of frying a meat, I'm actually making Detroit style pizza, which, for those
Fuck
of you,
Fuck you.
Oh my god.
I
little
hate
jealousy.
you.
I hate me too, but I'm
I hate Detroit style pizza. Are you just jealous?
yeah, just
I'm jealous of both. No, I love Detroit style pizza. I am a
Yeah.
huge fan of Detroit style pizza,
I figured.
especially Billy's.
yeah.
Like very particularly Billy's Detroit style pizza.
I remember you brought a slice one time when we were hanging out.
Oh
and
yeah,
it
I
was,
did make you that.
That was good.
That wasn't my best. That didn't have two of the cheeses that are gonna go on this one.
Ooh, describe it to me.
So hopefully this turns out well. So for those of you who don't know, Detroit style pizza is basically you fry a Chicago style pizza. It's typically square, very thick, about an inch, and then traditionally sauce goes on top of the cheese, and the cheese caramelizes and fries along the bottom or along the edges of the pan and sticks to the crust, and it's wonderful. It's very crunchy. Jet style pizza is a notable example of a commercially available one. It's really good. Now, normally, if you're in Wisconsin, but as we're in Tennessee, Texas, and Florida, you can't get, or their primary cheese is brick cheese, which is some buttery butter queso-like cheese. But you can't get that anywhere. No hope.
Oh, it's like a kind of cheese.
Yeah, like it's
called brick cheese.
Yeah, it's called brick cheese. It's called Wisconsin brick cheese, and it is delightful. It is delicious.
It's like a buttery mild cheddar.
Yeah.
Like somewhere between like a provolone and a cheddar. Like it's a little bit more tasty than provolone, but not sharp. But it's definitely very buttery.
For what it's worth, just as an aside, I've already decided we have to do a cheese episode. And I'm starting to think we might need to do 2 cheese episodes.
We might.
So,
we're going to need to
just
split Europe or the world in 2.
Yeah, just file that cheese, brick cheese away for later.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
I've cooked with brick cheese once before, and I've made that for the formerly Knoxville gang. So it was really good. But
yeah, it was.
There's a good approximation that you can do, which is Monterey Jack and Munster cheese with mozzarella as the base, because pizza. And that's basically what I'm doing tonight. I've made some King Arthur pizza bread flour dough. Normally their recipe says just do it like an hour before. I did it a night before just to let it proof up
you gotta let that go for a day
and let it ferment a little, make it a little tastier. And normally I would. So back to I guess unforeseen events of around the world. All of my apartment amenities are down, so I can't use a grill. Normally I would take this very thick gauge steel pan, put the pizza in or the crust dough along the bottom of the pan and cook that so the bottom gets really crispy, and then take it inside, put it in the oven, and put cheese and sauce on it. But I'm not able to do that because the grill's out of commission for health reasons. So I'm really
Right.
hoping this turns out well. I'll let y'all know if it goes poorly next week.
Could you try preheating the pan to a pretty hot degree so it like
You're also supposed to
sears on there?
apparently proof the dough in the pan, or let it rest. It's been I'm not the most educated on dough terminology, but where you let it like rest in its container so it spreads out and relaxes the gluten, right?
Yeah, because you're
Um,
gonna get it kind of tensed up again when you reshape it into the
Yeah.
pan, but not
Yeah,
much.
normally you
it's
just
fine.
let it sit in the pan for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
plan
but-
on doing. But
But luckily, you could salvage the crispy bottom thing because if you preheat, because your pan's like it's basically iron, so if you
Yeah.
preheat that in a 500-degree oven, that'll be hot enough to get like a pretty good like searing, I guess is a good word. You know, just like getting a crispy bottom to it. I do that when I make bread in my Dutch oven. I preheat that in the oven with it, so when you plop it in there, you get a really good base to it.
hmm
Yeah.
Mm.
although I also need to get oil in the bottom of the pan so it comes up nice and easy, as well as so it fries all that cheese on the sides.
Yeah.
It's a caloric time bomb, but it's delicious. I'm also
it's
gonna.
not good for your arteries.
Oh no, it's not. I'm also gonna try to make one in. Have y'all seen those like infinite edge brownie pans where it's like the snake
Yes.
pattern?
No, what are you talking about?
So anyone who orders Jets knows that the secret or
The
the
four
best thing
edge.
the secret thing to get is the 8-edge pizza.
8 corner.
Oh,
Eight
yeah,
corner
that's right.
pizza.
Yeah.
So you have all the crispy edges of the cheese pizza.
Every piece is a corner.
Every piece is a
Oh.
corner.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
that's
try
glorious.
to make that, or make Detroit style pizza in that kind of, or in that brownie pan. So hopefully everything's just edge. Like there's
Oof.
just everything's edge.
Corner
I-
pieces are the ultimate pieces.
They really are.
We'll
I hope
see
I
if
don't like
your,
damage my pan because I think it's aluminum instead of steel. So it might. I mean, it's probably not gonna melt, but it might bake
No,
off.
not at 500 degrees. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll probably be fine. Yeah.
You'll be okay.
So I guess Harry, what are you making?
Austin and I were out of all food, so we had to go to the grocery store anyway. And we've been wanting to make paella for a couple weeks now, so we figured we might as well do it tonight. So we are, I guess, if anyone doesn't know, paella is a Spanish rice dish, usually done in like a pan that's kind of like a big, not quite a wok, but it's usually done over like a big gas burner, but we don't have that, so I'm using a cast iron skillet. But the idea is it's almost like a Spanish risotto, but usually with more, you use the same rice, like arborio. And so you fry up some veggies, add in the rice, add in like a lot of liquid, so I'm going to be using the homemade chicken stock I made.
Nice.
Usually has saffron in it, so that makes it a really pretty yellow color. And then depending on like what region or what style, it can either have like very heavy seafood, so like mussels, clams, shrimp, scallops, etc. Or like we're doing it, still has shrimp, and then chicken thighs and chorizo. So
That's
you kind
good.
of fry it. It's like a weird combination of like risotto and fried rice because it doesn't have the same creaminess as risotto. But then doing it over high heat, the rice around the edges of the pan and the bottom gets kind of crispy. It's really tasty.
I might have to steal that recipe, man. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I haven't made this recipe before, but I will let you know how it goes. And then we're also making, because Austin wanted to make it super authentic, something called Crema Catalana. It's basically Spanish creme brulee.
Ooh.
So you like heat up some milk with a cinnamon stick and lemon peel in it to like infuse the flavor or whatever, and then mix in some cornstarch and like temper some egg yolks with it, and then you bake it sort of like creme brulee, and then it sets up like a custard, and then you put sugar on top and torch it.
Oh my god.
So hopefully that all goes well and it doesn't come up on next segment of, cooking disasters, but we'll see. I've made paella before and I've made creme brulee before, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
it's also nice with paella because it makes. I mean, most of the recipes, it's apparently like a social. It's like how we have barbecues.
Mm-hmm.
People in Spain will have like dedicated giant gas burners, sort of like a camping stove but huge, and these huge paella pans, and they'll just make a batch of paella for like 20 people in their backyard. So it's moral of the story is great for leftovers too.
Have you guys ever had a? So this is just remind me of Spain food. Have you guys ever had like a Spanish torta before?
No.
I can't say that I have.
What is that?
I've only had them once, and it was in London. But it was like I had no idea what it was, and I was just like, "Ooh, it's a torta. I'm gonna assume that's a tortilla, so I'm gonna get a burrito." And I'm just like, "Yeah, why not?" It's not that at all. It was like an omelet, but the eggs were mixed with no, it wasn't eggs. It was like a little bit of egg, I think, mixed with potatoes that was formed into this like big like bread almost that they put like chorizo and black pudding in the center of, and it was
Oh my god!
ridiculously good. I had no idea what I was getting because no one spoke any English, and I'm just illiterate. And
Didn't you say you were in London?
yeah, I was in London, and I was homeless, but that's a different story. But
Wait! But why didn't they speak English?
They weren't English; they were Spanish.
Oh,
It was like a food stand.
Okay.
And it was cost like nothing. It cost like £2, and I had no money.
Mhm.
And I was wandering around the city, and I was like, "I'll just eat this." And it was a giant potato-y thing filled with chorizo and black pudding, and it was just out of this world.
Damn, I need to try that.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds. Is it like a quiche, or is it more like?
No. It has like the texture of like I don't even know how to describe it. It's somewhere in between like an omelet and a thick tortilla. I don't know how else to like get it like to describe it. It's very unique. I've never had anything like it before.
Okay.
It's really good.
I'll definitely have to look into that.
I'm probably butchering the explanation because it's been like 2.5, almost 3 years, but it was good.
What was it again?
It was like it's a torta. It's like I think that's the name. It was a Spanish torta. I might be butchering it.
Quick
Again, it's been a while,
Googling that.
but yeah,
I'll have to mute my mechanical keyboard. That is not it. This looks like
According to
sandwich.
Wikipedia, it's a Spanish, Italian, Greek, Albanian, Bulgarian. I'm just gonna say Mediterranean. Shoot.
I don't think this
word
is
with
right.
a wide array of culinary meanings such as cake or flatbread.
Okay, yeah, okay, so I think it's a Spanish tortilla, so I think he was just calling it a torta, but it like
Tortes?
it's
Or
like a
like-
very eggy, fluffy potato thing stuffed with meat and stuff.
Tortas de huevos?
No,
It's
no. If you just look up Spanish tortilla, it's
Huevo en torta?
I don't know.
Not to be confused with torta de huevo.
This is an audio podcast, so maybe we shouldn't be like.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's a Spanish tortilla.
Oh, it
and
looks
it's
a
like,
little bit like a frittata.
It's like a frittata, but a lot more potato-y, and they made it a certain way where it like it almost you could almost pick it up like that. It was a strange street food thing, but man, it was like out of this world.
Okay, that sounds really good.
Yeah, just wanted to put that out there. It's like people sleep on they're like, oh, Mexican food's so good. Not stuff like Spanish food, like from Spain. That is something that you don't get that here in the States very much, and it's amazing.
You really don't. I don't think I've ever had traditionally what I would recognize as traditionally Spanish
Good
food.
stuff, man. It's good.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, moving on to our next segment. James, you had an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to introduce?
Sure. All right. So I wanted to talk about something that's very, very relatable to anyone who cooks anything at all, and that's cooking failures. Things that have gone horribly wrong while you're trying to cook something. Either you were trying to cook something outside of your comfort zone, or you just messed up something simple. Maybe you were drinking and just didn't watch something. That's happened to me a lot. And so I just think, this is something everyone has gone through, especially if you're trying to learn to cook. Half the battle is you messing up something, and because you're trying to do something that's a little more complicated, and usually the first time doesn't go great. But yeah, I just think that's a really relatable topic, and if I've got two that I did relatively recently. One 2 days ago. I salvaged it, but it was not going to go well. I got a bunch of curry paste, and I wanted to use up some like leftover potatoes and onions that I had chopped up and hadn't cooked, and I just wanted to use that. So I was boiling them, but I wasn't thinking, and I used a bunch of water. And because I wanted to put the curry paste into the water, and it would kind of like thicken up, and it would kind of coat everything.
Sure.
But I used way too much water because I wasn't thinking, and so I put the curry paste in, and it was like curry water and potatoes, which sounds horrible. It was very unappetizing looking.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh, what am I gonna do? So I drained out like all but like the barest bit of the water, put a way more curry paste in it, and then I dumped a bunch of leftover rice in there too to soak up the water, and it actually turned out great. Like,
Really?
yeah, because I got rid of that moisture, so you get this like really like it was already cooked rice, so it just had to like soak up a little bit of the moisture to heat back up, and then I added way more curry paste to it, so then it was like curry rice with chunks of potato and onion and carrot, and it tasted fine. It was great. So I salvaged that one, and I think I was drinking a beer or something like that, and I just was looking at it just. Oh my god! I just used up a bunch of curry powder or curry paste or whatever. I got to figure out a way to make this edible because I need to eat something today and I don't want to cook anything else. So I was able to salvage that. One thing I just butchered like 2 weeks ago that there was no salvaging it. I ate it because I paid for it, but I had to just deal with it. So I was braising a pork shoulder. And I did like a mojo marinade overnight, a little bit of like salt and citrus and bay leaves and oil and all that good stuff, and a lot of cumin and coriander. And I let it go overnight. I prepped it, and I was braising it in my Dutch oven, and I wasn't paying attention, and I let it go way long, like half an hour longer than it should have, and it was just like cutting into a overdone pork chop. And it was not pleasant. Like everything was like burnt on it. Like I put like stuff on the outside to get nice crispy crust. It was burnt. So the inside was like edible. The outside was burnt, but it was just stiff as a board. And it was a 5-pound pork shoulder, and I was gonna throw away 5 pounds of pork. So I just had a lot of pork and ketchup that week. Just anything to salvage it. I just put like random sauces and put it in sandwiches and just like. One way I made it at least edible is that I chopped it up and basically shredded it. I basically shredded all the pork and chopped it up super fine, so you can like mix that in with something and it would be okay. Like you wouldn't really care that it was really tough. But it definitely made me realize like, oh, I should probably pay attention when I'm cooking, because I was watching TV, just like, oh, it's fine, and just I don't know, I wasn't thinking. And it just, I don't know, it can happen to the best of us, but I was so mad at myself. You ever have those moments where just everything was going fine, you worked on this for like a day, like you marinated this, it's ready to go, and you just 30 minutes of absent-mindedness, and it's just overdone and horrible.
Yep.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah, so that was my two most recent mistakes were that. And, at the time of this recording, we're all still in quarantine, and this was during quarantine, so it's not like, oh well, like, oh, that's
I'll just go buy another.
I'll just go buy another. No, it was like I had just trekked to the supermarket to get this, and I messed it up, and I'm like, oh my god, what's wrong with me? So I was hell bent on not doing that again. I even I have a little journal I keep cooking notes in, and I wrote in like all caps and circled it. It's like, set a louder timer for braising meat. You idiot!
Yeah.
You idiot is written in my notebook.
I'm pretty sure it's written in a lot of your notes in your notebook.
Oh, I call myself a moron all the time. Like Kat will hear me cooking, and she'll be just doing something in the other room, and I'll be like, "Idiot! You idiot!" And she comes in, she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I burnt this." It's a lot of self-depreciating stuff going on in the kitchen when you mess things up.
Just as a funny, you saying set a louder timer reminded me. I use a lot of Google Home products. Super useful in the kitchen for setting timers and stuff like that. But what really sucks is more than once, and usually I'll figure it out before it's too late, but I will ask my Google Home, I won't say it because I don't want to trigger everyone's products, but I'll say, hey, device, set a timer for however long. And I'll just be going around doing my thing, and I'll not register the fact that it didn't say, okay, I set a timer. It just didn't hear me. So then 20 minutes later, I'm like, shouldn't my 15-minute timer have gone off by now? And then I like rush into the kitchen and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh fuck.
Yeah.
Usually it's fine,
Yeah.
but sometimes.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel that. That's happened to me a couple times.
I've had a
Mhm.
couple situations where I've had like had a timer going for food, but instead of having like a noise, I had it set to stop playing whatever you're playing. Like if I'm watching like a YouTube video, it'll stop or
That
whatever.
seems like a poor decision.
Yeah, poor decision, because if you're not watching or listening to anything on it, it does nothing. It blanks out. Which is
Oh no,
really
that's not
unfortunate.
good.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, I need to get because I use a lot of like home assistant stuff too, and it's fine, but it's it's a somewhat loud alarm. But I need to get just an analog, super loud, obnoxious like kitchen timer that's just gonna go off and make everyone annoyed. Because
Like
that's
one of the spring-loaded ones that you
yeah,
like twist?
yeah. It's a horrible ringing noise because
Yeah.
that'll remind me to go check on stuff. Because I don't know, like the Google Home or Alexa products or whatever, they're just like, or Amazon products, they're like, it's like, a calming like do 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 do, like it's
Yeah.
like whatever. I want one just as like, hey dipshit, fucking open up the oven, your thing's about to burn. I want something that like in your face.
Yeah.
Like, put a little
That's
fear
an
of God
idea
in
for
you.
a product, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I usually have on my I use that like bomb siren alarm on my phone for everything.
Well, I mean, the problem is I want something that I don't mind handling while having stuff all over my hands. I don't want to touch my phone while I'm like messing with it in the kitchen. So
Mhm.
like Amazon products and Google products are great because it's just all voice commands. But if it's just like a designated kitchen timer, I wouldn't mind touching it with flour on my hands or something like that. Like I wouldn't really care if it got a little messed up because it's just analog spring loaded or whatever.
Mhm.
But that's not really all I got. I mean, I've got plenty of other stuff I've burned and mangled and everything. But those are the most two recent things that have happened in the last couple weeks.
I can go ahead. It's not my... I mean, don't get me wrong. I think all of us have had some number of cooking failures, and to varying degrees. But the first thing that sprang to mind was particularly disappointing, because it was one of those situations where you get a bunch of supplies and you're like, oh, I'm going to make this really good thing, and it's going to last for like a few days, and I'm going to eat it a bunch, and it's going to be great. So I don't know, whether this is the proper nomenclature or not, but my dad would make it for my brother and I, not while we were actually camping, just like at home, but it's meant to be a camping food called Mountain Man breakfast.
Okay.
And the standard preparation is it's in a Dutch oven, and it's meant to be like dead easy, like super simple, like foolproof. You can do it on a campfire kind of thing. So you get hash browns, usually like a bag of frozen hash browns, a dozen eggs, like a tube of sausage or like a pound of bacon or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know this.
Onions and cheese. So what you're supposed to do is like fry up the meat, start, take it out, cook up the hash browns in whatever fat is left over, then add in the eggs, top with like mix in some cheese, top with cheese, and then just cover it, and then either bake it or like I guess put hot coals all over it.
Yeah.
And then you get basically like a pretty easy, really tasty like hash brown breakfast casserole sort of thing.
Ooh, that does sound really good.
That's
And my
classic
brother,
Boy
like,
Scout dish.
Yeah, my brother loves it. So whenever it would get made, he would just eat that, like, legitimately, breakfast, lunch, and dinner until we ran out. So while we were living together, he one time was just like, oh, hey, we haven't had Mountain Man in a while. You should make that. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's super easy. So I, get all the supplies. I come home, and I had just gotten a new Dutch oven for Christmas, because I didn't have a Dutch oven, because we had just moved in together, and, like, we didn't have a bunch of cooking gear. So, like, this will be great. Truthfully, I'm not exactly sure where the mistake was made. I think it might partially be because I hadn't cooked with the Dutch oven a whole lot, so I didn't understand the, like, how different they are in terms of how quickly they heat up and how they transfer heat.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I will just throw in the hash browns with some oil, because we were just doing no meat. So I was just like, I'll just do some oil. Threw in the hash browns, and like they were taking a while to cook because I just threw them in frozen. So I was like, okay, I'll just, let them sit, defrost. I covered it because I was like, that'll probably trap the heat, and let it defrost for a while. And it was like fine. The bottom got a little burnt, and I was like, that's fine. I'll just continue. I'll just like scrape it, and keep cooking. And then the hash browns were starting to get cooked, so I was like, oh, cool. So then I threw in the, beaten eggs and the cheese, and then I stirred it up to mix everything together, and then I covered it and, continued cooking it. And it wasn't cooking. And I was like, this is taking a really long time. I guess it's because cast iron takes so long to heat up, and because like I just put in a bunch of really cold stuff. I'll just keep going until it's done. So then I did. Long story short, the reason it wasn't cooking was because there was a layer of burnt hash brown stuck to the bottom of the pan.
Yeah.
That was like preventing enough heat from getting into the rest of the pan.
Okay.
So that part just kept getting more and more burnt as everything else got, warmed up slowly.
Okay.
So by the time it was finally done, it was like, if you cut it in half, it was like a geologic strata of like nicely cooked, egg at the top, and then it just got darker and darker until like this like centimeter or two thick layer of just black at the bottom that was stuck.
Ugh.
And I was like, okay, fine, like we'll just take like the top 2/3 of it and we'll be good. But because that burnt stuff had been at the bottom of the pan for the entire cooking process, it had infused the entire dish with burnt potato flavor. And it was also one of those things where you take the first bite and you're like, tastes a little burnt, but like, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I'll keep it. I'll eat it. But then every time I went back to like, get a plate or like, oh, I'm going to have another bite, I would be like, this is not good. And like I felt especially bad for my brother because he liked it so much that I think he ate it for like 2 meals before he was like, I can't do this. Like it tastes good, but it also just tastes burnt and shitty. So I think like within the next few days, I went back to the store and remedied my mistake. I think the main problem was the pan wasn't hot enough to begin with, so it just once it started to heat up, it thawed out the hash browns on the bottom. But I kept like agitating it. I think they just got kind of mushed into the bottom of the pan. And then there wasn't a lot of like non-stick insurance basically. So whatever stuck stayed stuck. And then just got worse and worse and worse.
Plus it was brand new Dutch oven, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that might have been one of the first things.
You gotta. It's a Lodge product, so I mean, I think you have a Lodge.
Well, this was enameled. So
no, I have an enamel one as well. We have the same one, I think, but
we do.
My first go at it, everything was stuck to it. It didn't work out well. But like the more I've cooked with it, the better its nonstick has been for me. Like it's not cast iron, but like I think it still needs like a little bit of seasoning to be really good.
Yeah, so that was very upsetting.
Oh, I feel that. And plus, he just kept eating it. Oh man, like.
Well, yeah. So this is like his favorite thing, where like he's like, if you make it, I will eat it until it's all gone. And I'm like, cool, that's great, because we were like splitting groceries, and I was like, that's super cheap. But yeah, I think he just. So I had also made a bunch where I like froze half of it.
No.
So he ate it. He ate the just refrigerated part, and was like, "This is Harry. This is I appreciate it, but it just does not taste good." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So then we took it out, and I think I had like shoved it in the back of the freezer so far that I had like forgotten about it or something. So then I think like a month later, when I was getting stuff out of the freezer, I'm like, "Oh, that and then I just like emptied the Tupperware into the garbage and continued.
Yeah, just get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
All right, Henry. What about you? Do you have any astounding failures?
I have a few ones. mainly not cooking for myself was like there was one day in our sophomore year of college where one of Dustin's friends was having a really bad day, and he's like, "Hey, I know you have like this stuff, but like, do you mind cooking up some of that, like those green beans, and I'll cook up like some jambalaya, and we bring over a meal and have some, and like just cheer her up." I'm like, "Okay, sure." What wasn't there is he woke me up to this, and I was very hungover. So my thought process was, it's just my sautéed green beans, and it's a really fun thing to do. It's simple. It's just you cook the green beans until they're not they're still very snappy. They still have a snap to them. They're not fully cooked. Like it's only 7 minutes in a steamer, and then you saute it with a little bit of olive oil, some sliced almonds, and lemon pepper.
Oh my god, I forgot about this.
Yeah,
That sounds really good.
Yeah,
It's
you did make this a lot sophomore year.
I really love doing it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so good.
Super easy, super good. And Dustin had some like homemade lemon pepper, and
Ooh, nice.
I was like, this is great. And so I start putting it in, and I take a bite, and I'm like, this isn't enough. This isn't nearly enough lemon pepper. I think my taste buds were dead. Because I just took I feel like I must have taken a handful of the stuff and just throw it on there. I'm like, needs more lemon pepper. You can never have enough lemon pepper. And we all took a bite come that night, and everyone's like, this is inedible. And I'm like, sorry, this is impossible. Yep.
Aw.
And we had to throw the
okay.
whole thing out. And
You had what drunk taste buds were just like, I can't taste anything. I'm
gonna put more on. I'm gonna put more on. And I was like, I don't want it, because I never really I don't cook a lot with measurements and spices. It's just sort of like
By taste.
more visual. Yeah, it's more by taste, pretty much. Like I season to taste, but I make the dishes that I do so much that there's just like, oh, if I cover it with about this thick of a layer of spice, we're good.
It's a dangerous game, Henry.
I mean, there's just certain. I just know the sizes of my dishes, and I know how it is. But yeah, that was basically, I just ruined a whole bunch of the simplest dish in the world, green beans with too much lemon pepper, and I didn't think that was possible. The second thing is a little more recent, but it's less of my fault and more of figuring out the eccentricities of my home stove. So I was cooking cast iron pan pizza, and I've been trying to dial in the time, and I put them both on the same temperature and had them on at the same time. They're the same size pan and the same size eye. And I'm like, oh, okay, this will be fine. I throw them out, and I take them out, and one is absolutely burnt to a crisp on the bottom, and the other one's perfect. And I couldn't figure out, and this went on for a couple of weeks, where the left one would always be just a little burnt, and the right one would be not good enough, not cooked enough, didn't have a crust, or the right one would be perfect and the left one would be just terrible. And I learned that one of my eyes actually doesn't have the same temperature. It doesn't have the same, it goes hotter than the other one. It just goes a lot hotter, so I have to put it on a much lower setting to keep it equal.
Okay.
So that was just a lot of dialing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, figuring out the nuance of burners and stoves is always
it's a
tricky.
few dishes.
I learned, I don't know, I always kind of ignore, maybe not ignore, but when a recipe says position oven rack and blah blah blah, I'm always just I got one in the middle, I'll put it there. But my oven here, the top left half of the oven just doesn't heat up nearly as much as the rest, and I didn't figure it out until I was baking cookies, and I was the ones on the right always come out burnt when the ones on the left look good. So yeah, figuring that stuff out is always
my
frustrating.
oven does the same thing. I've got a cold spot, and so what I've been doing just to remedy that is I'll rotate whatever I'm cooking, or reposition it. If it's a big sheet pan and stuff, I'll rotate it. If it's just usually just the sheet pan's fine, because whenever I cook in my oven without using a sheet pan or anything like that, it's usually in my Dutch oven or in my cast iron, and that's fine. That'll heat up. It's got its own containment of heat, so it's usually good to go. Especially the Dutch oven will be fine. But with cookies, same problem. I have to rotate it almost twice to make sure that I don't accidentally burn anything.
I really should rotate stuff more often than I do, but sometimes I just get lazy and I'm like, it should be fine.
Yeah. What you gonna do? I'll still eat burnt cookies. I'm gonna be honest, man.
Oh, for sure. One time I just took a microplane to the bottom of the cookies and just literally grated off the bottom millimeter.
Oh my god!
And it turned out fine. So there you go.
Dedication there.
I just had the mental image of a foot scraper when you said that for some reason.
Yeah, but
Let's not.
delicious.
I
Not the
don't think
foot,
you can
the cookie.
It was burnt shortbread cookie, so I don't know.
Billy?
All right, Billy, let's hear from you.
Let's see, what did I
what
mess
have-
up? So, about a week into this whole quarantine affair, my roommate and I decided to get the harebrained idea that we were going to make our own homemade mozzarella. Now, every other cooking channel on YouTube or recipe tells you what to do if everything goes wonderfully well. They never tell you how to fix it or it's not working, I don't know what's going on. They don't tell you how to fix it or So, as it turns out, when you make mozzarella, it's a very involved process. You got to get animal rennet, good, unpasteurized or low temp pasteurized preferably whole milk, and some non-ionized salt. It's just salt basically. And we decided to do this at 3 a.m. on a Saturday after having a few beverages and playing some TTT with the folks on this fine podcast. So, first off, we used poor quality milk. We just went to Kroger and got some milk we thought said low temp pasteurized, but it didn't. And we thought it was working until we got to the part where we're forming a curd. And that didn't work out. We ended up basically with just cheese curds. So later that week we ended up trying out the same process but with non-chlorinated water. Apparently that's an issue. So you can't use city tap water.
Yes, that is actually a huge issue.
Oh, yeah.
You need distilled water.
You need distilled water. Didn't know that.
It messes with the curdling?
Yeah, it messes with the curdling. It kills the rennet, I guess, which is the protein that breaks down milk into a whey and curd. As well as sometimes you just got to keep heating that thing up until it becomes pliable.
Okay.
Otherwise, it just stays as curds. So that's basically what we did. They recommend the traditional method is keep the whey on the burner and spooning it onto the curd to heat it up and compress it and massaging it into a ball of mozzarella. That wasn't working, and they also say you can put it in a microwave and just keep nuking it for 30 seconds until it behaves itself. But I don't have
just the ball of curd?
Yeah, the ball of curd. That is actually pretty effective. The first time it didn't work because of the chlorinated water. But if you keep nuking it, eventually you'll get dried out cheese. You scrape that off, and then you've got a molten ball of curd that you need to massage into a ball.
All right.
Yeah. So, eventually that worked out. But make sure you read between the lines and cross-compare with multiple recipes.
Yeah, that's fair. Plus, half the time you gotta have just a good old-fashioned first time through. Just that was a complete failure, but now we know.
Yeah. Were you guys using pasteurized milk? That's another thing.
The first time I think it was a gallon of Kroger milk, which is
that does not work.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I think you want it to be as non-pasteurized.
It was ultra pasteurized milk. We figured that out in post. So eventually we went to Whole Foods, and there's a local dairy, and we got some of their whole milk, buttermilk, and chocolate milk. The chocolate milk is just butter and chocolate. It's delicious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you really
sounds wonderful.
You really missed out on it, James, because I know you love your Trumu. You would have loved this.
I can't drink that anymore, but freshman year, that was a.
Oh, I know. I have an embarrassing photo of you in it.
Yeah.
I just had this disgusting mental image of making mozzarella with chocolate milk.
Chocolate mozzarella, why not?
No,
Yeah.
no. Billy's referring to when we first moved in together freshman year of college, where I was like, I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want. I went to Walmart and got a bunch of whole milk, chocolate milk, True Moo brand or whatever, and had that with Cookie Crisp cereal. And
Oh my god.
I had like one bowl and I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna vomit. It was so much. And
Was it good though?
I mean, the first 3 bites were heaven, but then I was like, there's a reason you don't let your kid
I've
do this.
overcommitted here.
I've committed to this bowl and I have to eat it, and I felt so sick because it was before I figured out I was lactose intolerant, at least partially. So I was like, man, I feel terrible, but I was like, well, you just ate Cookie Crisp cereal and whole milk, of course you feel terrible. But then later on, I was like, dairy in general makes me not feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's what lactate's for. It's great.
Yeah. Do you have some?
Yeah.
now?
Yes.
You bought some?
Good.
It costs like $8 for 60 capsules, and like one
Maybe
capsule.
I should get that.
So do you just like take one before you eat
some
dairy?
which is basically.
Every
That's not
meal.
awful.
It's every meal for you.
Yeah, as I was trying to say, like, as someone whose most of his diet consists of either chicken or cheese of some nature, it really became a problem when I was became lactose intolerant, or started noticing I was getting lactose intolerant. Cause, Henry, there's that story of, well, you've seen it in first person where it was my birthday, and I had a big old plate of fettuccine alfredo at a Carrabba's.
Oh god.
Yes. Oh god.
And it was delicious. It's so good. It's so creamy. It's so good. And then we decided, let's go find some birthday scotch or birthday liquor. And the local or the liquor store across the street from the Carrabba's has a sampling bar where they have like almost one of every of their bottles that they have or that they sell.
That was a great sampling bar.
That is a great sampling bar. Highly recommend if you're Knoxville, McScrooge's Bar. Maybe they'll sponsor us. And I have like one quarter to a half ounce of whiskey. Immediately run to their bathroom and have to
I can
throw
just
up.
imagine
Just oh!
Yeah.
There was a war zone happening in your stomach at that point, man.
Yeah,
I mean, alcohol and dairy in general.
No,
yeah, that's immediately curdling it in your
subpar.
stomach.
Yeah, that's why, like, what we've mentioned Gavin before. Every time he drinks like creamy, I guess
White
cocktails.
Russians?
Yeah, White Russians. I'm like, how do you do that? My stomach is cramping just from hearing that, or like
I don't.
smelling it.
Are all three of you lactose intolerant? Because Harry,
I'm not.
You're not. Okay. Because
Austin is
I
probably.
cannot relate to this. Like I love dairy too much. I would feel.
No, we
so
all love
horrible.
it. It's
Yeah.
just
I
doesn't
know.
love us.
I know it doesn't love you, and I feel so sorry for you because dairy is great. Also, there are quite a few good cocktails that involve milk.
Oh yeah, no, there's like there are, like there's plenty of like anything in the holidays has some kind of cream or something in it. It's great.
God, give me an eggnog.
I really do
Ooh,
want to
ice cream eggnog.
I really do want to make like Archer's peppermint patty.
Is that just like peppermint schnapps and eggnog or something?
It's like creme de menthe and peppermint schnapps, yeah, and mix
sounds pretty
mix
good.
that into hot chocolate.
Oh,
That sounds so good.
Exactly, yeah.
that's
Ooh,
good
speaking
stuff.
of, we made peppermint brownies last night, which was just brownies with peppermint extract in it.
Yeah.
Very tasty. Tastes like a Thin Mint.
Ooh, I like that.
So yeah, for our final segment, I would love to know. I feel like everyone has a food that even the thought of is just like makes you kind of queasy. I know I have a couple. I know I had more as a kid. So yeah, guys, why don't we share what either now or when you were younger and you've gotten over it, what food would just like make you vomit?
Okay. Like as of right now, I have like there's no food I will not eat. There's some I don't like seek out, but there's very few. I can't think of any food that's like a real food, not like spoiled meat or like something that's like inedible that makes me not want to eat it. And I've had some weird stuff. I've eaten some weird stuff, and I would eat it again. I just was like I wouldn't seek it out. But as a kid, there was one particular thing that I could not eat, no matter what it was in or how it was prepared. I could not eat
Mhm.
sour cream at all. I could not eat.
What?
Yeah, because it was a very particular experience because so my whole life I like to eat. I have a pretty big appetite, and I think I was like 5 years old because it was at my parents' old house. So I was like really hungry one night, and we had like leftovers. I'm like, oh, mom, can I have some of the leftovers? Can I have like this, and this? She's like, okay, yeah. She was busy, and she's like, you know where it is. You can get it yourself. And so for some reason, I piled up a bunch of chicken and other like random things, and with like half of a container of sour cream.
Oh
Ugh.
no.
And I was eating everything with this like massive amount of sour cream. And again, I'm lactose intolerant. I haven't really figured that one out until like I was 20. So,
Okay.
and as a kid, it's like less of an issue. And I drank a lot of milk as a kid, but um, basically, milk I'm usually okay with. But anything past that, if you go into cream or anything that's like a little bit thicker, I can't deal with it.
Okay.
Like I can drink 2% and I'll be like iffy. I'll be okay. But anything past that, not okay. Like ice cream really messes me up. So I ate this half a container of sour cream with barbecue chicken. I remember it was barbecue chicken and a bunch of other random stuff, like the whole plate. And
Just
I
like
was,
bathed in sour
yeah,
cream.
just bathed in sour cream, and I was just
Mm.
violently ill, like bad, like all night long, just like I'd been poisoned. I just felt so bad. So for like over a decade, I couldn't eat sour cream at all without getting sick. It was
Damn.
crazy. Like any Mexican restaurant we went to, I just could not eat it. I had to like specifically ask for it not to be included in anything. And then I think I was like 15 or something like that. I just had it. I was just like, yeah, okay. Like my dad. Oh, I remember what it was. My dad had made like some kind of dip where it was like sour cream, salsa, some other stuff, and it's like some generic random dip or something. And I tried it, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. And I realized there was sour cream in it. And it was the first time I'd been able to eat that without just feeling awful. I was like, oh, I guess I'm
Mhm.
okay. And like, I mean, to this day, I don't like an excessive amount of it, and that's more just like I don't want that much sour cream. It overpowers things.
Mhm.
But like, I can eat it. I think it tastes good now. I just don't like a lot of it because it will make me sick. So I just put like a little bit on there to like enhance some stuff. Or if you want like a burrito with guac and sour cream, I'm good with it. But it tastes good to me now, and I don't get sick unless I eat a bunch of it. But I think that's mostly due to the fact that I'm uh somewhat lactose intolerant at least. So yeah,
Okay.
that was for like a whole decade. I couldn't eat sour cream.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I don't have anything I'm like, I was, the only thing I was ever violently ill as with a child was shrimp. Like, I just couldn't, it wasn't even the flavor. I like the flavor of shrimp, but it's that texture. Like that feeling of like rubber in your teeth almost.
Yeah.
I
What about like? I mean, I'm not sure you ate a lot of like lobster as a kid.
have never
but
had lobster in my life.
Really?
I've
There you
never
go.
had lobster in my life.
I was going to say, does that bother you? Crab?
I've had crab, and I like crab fine. It's
Okay.
it's just like the feeling of like the chewiness of it. It just feels wrong in my mouth. It felt like I was putting rubber, and like the first time I ever had it as a kid, I like immediately went to the bathroom, vomited, and I'm like, I cannot finish this meal. I am sorry.
Jeez.
And I've gotten over that, and I really like shrimp now. But it was to the point that my parents made two. Whenever shrimp was in a dish, they made two dishes, one with, one without.
Aw, that's
They were
nice of them.
super awesome. Well, mainly because like one of our family favorite dishes is shrimp with orzo, which is this really awesome like shrimp dish with orzo and like
Mhm.
feta cheese and tomatoes. It's
Ooh,
like
yeah.
awesome.
Is it like a cold like a chilled salad sort
no,
of thing?
no. You bake it in the oven.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
better.
Really, really fun. And then, but the other food that I just couldn't stand as a child is and to this day, I'm not a massive fan of. Like, there are two types of food. One is chili. I just don't like chili.
What?
I don't know why.
Well, okay.
I will eat it, but I am never a massive fan of chili. Like, I just, nah. And the other one that I just actively don't like is like meat soups. Like, my mom makes this white bean chicken soup that I just dislike.
Really?
Yeah, like everyone
Oh,
else is
that's
like,
like
wow,
my
this is
go-to
delicious.
comfort foods, man.
Like everyone's like, wow, this is delicious, and I'm like, I don't get this. Like it just, I don't like soup most of the time. Like most soups, I just not enjoy. It's the I don't know if it's the texture, but it's just like I don't like drinking my meals.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can
Well,
do stew. I can't do soup. It's
Really?
gotta be thicker.
everyone's
It's like the
It's
same
the
thing.
I guess.
No. It's
Stew
gotta be
is
thicker.
chunkier.
It's gotta be thicker. Like I like it more thick than I do like it watery. I don't like watery soups.
Okay, you like it more thick. I get it. All right. That
I
makes
like it
makes a
thicker.
lot of things make sense. On the thicker side of life.
Yeah.
A little more girth to my soup.
A little.
All right. Well, with that, Billy, how about you? What's your like no-go food?
Name
Yeah,
All
your
of it?
one.
You can't
food.
see it, but my eyes just turn into saucers. It's just like, well, that's almost everything. Since none of the podcast people know me, but y'all ought to at this point. I kind of eat like I'm a perpetual 8-year-old. And I'm man enough to admit that. I admit I have. I eat nothing but chicken nuggets and tindies.
Okay.
I guess very similar to Henry, actually. I didn't know we had this in common, though. After 12 years of friendship or something.
God,
Not a
I
huge-
don't know if I'm counting anymore.
Not a huge fan of soups. Just not a very similar. I just don't like drinking meals. Like I'm getting over that kind of now. Like I'll eat tomato soup. I won't be super happy with it. Apparently, I like to munch. Or to have.
Okay.
It would be better if it was like a sauce for like a grilled cheese. I don't know if. Have you ever been to a Tom and Chi? It's like
Yes.
a grilled cheese restaurant, and they have pretty good tomato soup and pretty excellent grilled cheeses. If you dip the grilled cheese in the soup, it's good. I'll accept that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it just turns into basically pizza, or almost a
Oh,
pizza.
I guess it kind of does.
Like
huh?
all the components are there: bread.
I never put it
Tomato,
together in
cheese.
that way, but yeah.
I do like a tomato soup with the grilled cheese. That is
Yeah,
something I will.
that's almost a must sometimes.
And yeah, shellfish or like any kind of. Yep, yeah, shellfish. Just, no, just the smell. Didn't our
Okay.
James? Didn't our apartment complex didn't they do like a crawfish bake for like a weekend or
Yeah,
something?
they attempted to do a crawfish boil, or like it was like a Louisiana crawfish boil special, and it's a bunch of like 25-year-old white dudes trying to boil crawfish for the first time ever. That didn't exactly turn out okay.
And it just smelled awful. I was just.
It was bad.
It's-
I like crawfish, and it smelled bad.
It's not selling me on the idea of eating the insects of the sea.
Yeah.
You're not
That's
doing
fair.
it for me. I'll eat like the trash fish, also known as a catfish. Like I like catfish.
Well, as long as it's heavily fried, you'll eat it.
No, I'll eat it
You've
baked.
had it blackened.
Yeah.
You like it blackened.
Yeah,
I've never actually had anything but fried catfish.
Blackened
Just-
catfish is quite good.
it is. It's now that is something you can make good if you just burn the shit out of it.
Mhm.
You kind of have to. But yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically shellfish, not a huge fan of. I won't seek out a burger, but if it's that or be a disappointment, I'll eat a burger.
I've gotten you to eat red meat before, and you were okay with it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'll eat the occasional steak, maybe. I might have even had a craving for one once. But no, shellfish.
All right, well-
Shellfish are right out.
I think just as a thing we should do while we maintain this podcast is get Billy to try new things.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no!
Good luck.
No!
We've tried for years. We've tried for years, Harry.
I saw him almost
I made-
choke on an apple when he tried to eat one. Like
James and I, when we lived with Billy, literally spent like, "Hey, try this." Like, "Hey, do this." Like, we've tried for years, and I tried through high school. It's impossible.
Okay.
he'll spit it back up. It's like trying to get a dog to eat a pill.
He
He'll
won't even
put it
eat
in his
a
mouth and he'll just
hamburger.
eject it.
He doesn't even eat beef at all.
Yeah, no, not really.
Well,
I still blame your dad on the hamburger thing. Like,
That's technically
he
my
made
mom.
you a terrible hamburger.
Oh yeah, that's a fun story. Harry, you probably don't know this, but my dad at some point was fed up with me not eating, I guess a hamburger just ever. I guess he had a real craving for a McDonald's one time. So he got like a
Okay.
frozen patty out of the freezer and said, "I'm gonna make you a hamburger, and you're gonna eat it. And if you do, I'll give you money."
Wow. That's a deal.
So I ate a hamburger for a fair amount of money for like 10-year-old me. Um, but it was freezer.
And?
It was freezer burned, and it tasted awful. Also,
Oh.
I don't think I've ever had a good frozen patty hamburger, like one of those preformed.
You have to really mess with it, but it'll be okay. Like you got to do like there's a brand that my dad would get when I was a kid called Bubba Burgers, and they're
I know
they're
that.
fine, but like he would also marinate the absolute hell out of them, like with a pretty solid marinade, and like cook that on an actual grill, like pretty high heat. It's fine. It's pretty good. Yeah, like it's honestly pretty solid. Just you got to go beyond salt and pepper for a frozen one. You got to do some stuff to it.
Harry, do you have any foods that?
Yeah, I have two main ones. One that I've kind of gotten over is tomatoes, raw tomatoes in particular. It was one of those things where I think a lot of us, it's mostly a texture thing. I don't know what I mean, granted, it was the flavor too. It was just a kind of like weird intersection of like sweet but not, and I don't know. Growing up, when we would have a vegetable garden and we would grow cherry tomatoes, my mom and brother would be like, "Oh my god, it's so delicious! You just walk out, pick a tomato off the vine, and eat it." And I did it once, and it just awful. I don't know why, but I just really didn't like it. I've kind of gotten to the point where I just like stopped saying don't put tomatoes on this sandwich or whatever, and then I was just like, oh, this isn't bad. But to this day, will like make me feel ill is hard-boiled eggs.
Really? Yes. Oh my god, that's right.
They're like, it's one of those things where you eat it and you're like, how do other people eat this?
I eat that
and think
almost
it's,
every
like,
morning,
good
man. I'm gonna
food?
be honest.
Yeah, no, I know. There's people who are like, oh, if you want to like have good energy throughout the day, just eat a hard-boiled egg in the morning, and then that's protein, and you'll be good to go. And like, I've seen videos where people are just like, hard-boiled egg, and they'll like peel it and just take a bite out of it, and it's like, I don't get it. It's rubbery. It's like firm Jell-O, but it doesn't even taste good. I don't get it.
I love them though.
It's for me. It's that smell of sulfur that kind of gets it, like that faint smell.
Along with the texture is just like, this isn't food. My body is not interpreting this as edible.
I eat them.
What is it that you like? Like, what makes a good hard-boiled egg?
First off, I grew up on them. Like, my mom would make deviled eggs for like every gathering, and so
deviled eggs are different than hard-boiled eggs.
But no,
They're
she would make deviled eggs all the time. She would make me egg salad sandwich because her favorite sandwich is an egg salad sandwich, which you need to do hard-boiled eggs to make. And my mom would just make a ton of them, and I would just eat them. Like, she'd make me egg salad. I love egg salad to this day. It's like one of my all-time favorite sandwiches is egg salad sandwich. And we would just have a bunch of hard-boiled eggs, and I'd be like, "Oh, can I have some?" And put a little salt on it and just eat it. And I guess I had enough egg, and like I always had fried eggs as a kid. I eat a lot of eggs to this day. I eat a lot of eggs, and I just grew up eating them. And I guess I don't know. I was just always used to them because like that smell. I don't smell it. Like I think it's also because every weekend there would be deviled eggs. And so there's a lot of like
kind of got used to it.
Yeah, so I'm always used to the smell of eggs. And I cook eggs all the time. I had eggs this weekend. I had eggs yesterday, and so I love hard-boiled eggs. I just eat them all the time. I can eat like
I don't know, man.
7
They're
in a row.
Vile to me.
That's fair.
But,
like I know people who don't like them, and I get it. I also I grew up with them, but I feel bad for you. It's so good.
I grew up with eggs, or hard-boiled eggs. My dad made them a lot as a child. And recently he started doing it again, and I don't like that he's doing it again because I'm like, you're the only one eating them. Please enjoy them, have fun. And he ruined my mom makes a great tuna salad. It's really simple. It's just like some sweet relish, tuna, and mayonnaise. Like love a good tuna salad. My dad ruined it by putting little chunks of hard-boiled egg in it, and I'm like, no,
great. I should do that.
No,
yeah,
why?
Awesome.
Why did you do this to me?
I'm like a snake, dude. I can swallow those things whole. I love them.
Jesus.
Like I love eggs.
Oh
I buy
2.5
dozen eggs at a time.
That's a lot.
I go through eggs. Like, because I don't do
Oh.
like, ooh, one little egg and that's all I'm having. No. If I'm having
If
an
I'm-
omelet, it's a 5-egg omelet. Like,
4 to
Oh my
5 eggs
God.
every time, man. Like it's you need some substance there.
I still, even if I have like scrambled eggs or something, I have to eat it like with something else.
Mhm.
If I just have like a bite of plain scrambled eggs, it's like hard for me to choke it down. But if I have like potatoes or cheese or
oh my
bacon, I
God.
can eat it.
I usually,
Dude, I just
I
eat
mix
eggs all
mine
the
with
time.
cheese
They're
and salt. Like that's all you need for scrambled
Never.
eggs.
I
No, just
load
use
mine up
eggs.
with pepper. That's it.
Ketchup helps.
No, just
Oh,
eggs, man. I don't
ketchup
put
and
Oh,
any
you're
egg?
one of those people who put ketchups on eggs.
Oh,
I thought it was
God.
gross until I tried it, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty good.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine. It's just like I have my own. Like for me, because I usually eat eggs with like pancakes and like bacon. It's I always I like syrup on my bacon and my eggs now.
That's
on
fair.
Okay, on the bacon I get, but syrup. Whenever my syrup would touch my eggs, I'm like, well, those are rendered.
Were you
inedible.
guys people as kids who had to have it all like divided out? Like you couldn't have your foods touching?
No, I was fine with that for almost everything.
Mm,
It's
Billy,
why
you had
Thanksgiving is
dividers
a
on your
great
plate.
holiday because everything touches and you get a nice mixture of
Exactly.
like cranberry sauce with turkey and then
Mm-hmm.
mac and cheese with a bite of ham or whatever. It's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but syrup on eggs. Okay, so like I usually put a lot of salt in my eggs. I like salty eggs, and like the syrup balances out with the salt.
That sounds
and
pretty
it's-
good. Yeah,
it's
I'm-
really
that's
like
fine with me.
it's like having it's just awesome. It's like a little bit of greasy eggs with some syrup. It's syrup goes in everything, almost everything, in my opinion. Love syrup.
If it's good, I mean, good syrup. Like
Yes,
you gotta get good
actual
stuff.
actual maple Vermont.
Yeah,
maple
I don't
syrup.
want like gooey like in the fridge for like 2 years Aunt Jemima stuff. Like give me some real stuff.
syrup never spoils?
Not really,
Probably
but
not.
it's not. It's thick. It's weird. It's like
Oh, no,
like
I get you.
not maple syrup is just corn syrup. I think.
yeah,
like with
pretty
almost
much.
flavor.
nothing
It's
else.
just sugar.
Sucrose.
Yeah. No. But I get it. I'm not trying to be judgmental because my cat, my girlfriend, is big on like food can't touch and doesn't want like she has a lot of like dietary stuff where she doesn't want to like eat certain things. So I've grown to like be accustomed to it. The way
Uh-huh.
my family is very much like eat it or there's no food. Like this is the food we've got, and so I have never in my life been picky, and I will eat things that freak people out.
Ooh,
Like
one
bad.
quick thing on that note, and then we should probably end it. But
Probably, yeah.
one of my favorite things growing up was meatloaf.
Oh,
We
yes.
would always have it with mashed potatoes and peas.
Yeah.
And I liked having everything in one bite.
Yes.
So I went through a few year span where I would basically get a plate full and then mash it all together and make like a shepherd's pie
That's
on my
fair.
plate.
Yeah, that's fine.
But everyone in my family ridiculed me for it because they're like, that's disgusting.
It's just a shepherd's pie.
Right, but like, I would call it making a casserole. I would just be like,
Kinda
oh, yeah.
is, yeah.
And I would just like put it in a bowl and mix it all up.
That sounds delicious. Put some gravy on
It's
that.
good.
Great.
Ooh.
I
No,
love-
we do
I
red meatloaf.
Love
That's-
me
So I
some
would
that's
meatloaf.
put
what I
ketchup
too.
on it.
Yeah.
Is it a ketchup base? Oh, so you use ketchup based sauce?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good, too.
We do that too. We do
Yeah.
that on ours
Mm,
with
that
like
sounds
with some
delicious.
amount of ginger too, also in there.
Ginger, really?
I'll have to try that next
I
time.
think it's ginger.
That sounds really
it's
good.
garlic and ginger, like a little bit of ginger.
That's a good combo.
Okay.
It's really good.
Well, all right. I think we're about at time now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been going a while.
Should probably
Yep.
call it.
this has been episode 2 of Country Fried Fools. Have fun cooking out there, listeners, and we'll figure out a good sign off for next
Yeah,
time.
get some music, honestly.
Yeah.
You get some
I-
lo-fi.
oh,
Let's get some lo-fi.
I don't know
in
if
here.
I said something in here, but I have a friend who makes music as like a hobby, and I am talking to him about getting some like little intro, outro jingles.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, we'll see.
Just totally rip
what he
off
comes
the
up
Binging with Babish jingle.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to get. I was like something maybe a little vaguely bluegrass sounding because of like the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So we'll see what that turns out like. I mean, I would rather have anything than silence, but we'll figure it out.
Cut now!
Yeah. End it.